my gosh. Look who I have here. I have Rosemary of Good Journeys Tarot, who has been kind enough to allow me to host the first deck casual about her 2 new decks. Oh, here, wait a minute. I should truth in advertising. Her 2 new decks.
Oh, there you go.
So you should all be not really jealous, but there you go. So, but thank you for being here.
Yes.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you. And for those of you who have been following along this process, links are below for Good Journeys Tarot, 78 cards in 78 weeks, which, by the way, I do have a card for. And it's like, here you go. I didn't get it out. 78 cards in 78 weeks, which was your process for creating.
Right. Yes, that's what I did. That was my accountability.
And it's wonderful because I think what's really wonderful is the excitement and the process of learning, because as you did this, you learned along the way and you adjusted things. So this is great. So we have a few people here, so let's say hi to them. Jane the Seeker is here. Have to run some errands while the hubster sleeps. Thank you. And Heather Indigo Jaguar Intuitive Arts is here. I have also, for people who want to know their limits and purchase responsibly, I have put the link to where you can find the decks. That should work. Yes. And those are also in the description. Beth Aspasia Rising is here. Hello. Teresa Hey Darian is here, and I think Teresa said they will be driving. And yep, congrats on the new decks, Rosemary.
Thank you,
Not
everyone.
that I'm excited. Pia's Life is here. Hello. For a short time before hitting the road to pick up the kids from Reg Brayai. I don't know where that is. So Kristen is here. Got another congratulations, Rosemary.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not going to be doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not the new thing. So listening in the car, yes. And okay, so Rosemary, everybody who's here or watching back, I encourage them to go over and like and subscribe to your YouTube channel. All of your links, your link tree is below as well.
Right.
So people can find out all things Good Journeys Tarot. Oh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Good Journeys Tarot everywhere. There was only one place that I did not have that username, and I deleted that app before it changed its name. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm not doing a lot of videos right now because I'm writing the guidebook to let people know my thoughts on our intentions regarding the cards. And part of that is because I initially, was working full time, so I needed time to actually do the writing after getting the book done. But I find that for me personally, I tend to work with the deck a while before I ever open the guidebook. To build my own thoughts on the images. And there are decks where I don't think I've ever cracked the guidebook. And other decks where I reference them regularly. So I want people to get a chance to actually build their own ideas, their own thoughts, and opinions on the images before they read what I had to say about them. So
absolutely. Well, and I think this is one of the things that I've seen multiple people talk about, the importance of you developing your relationship with the cards, the images, the way the deck flows, and then look at the book to support you and your understanding. So, is the book going to be this big?
No, it's going to be around 200 pages, so it's a pretty standard.
Okay, that's a good
It, it
size,
it
though.
it could be. It could have probably been a little white book if I didn't want to put some more information in it, and I didn't want you to have the full color image of the card and that kind of thing. So it'll be available as a PDF, hopefully in October, and
Excellent,
should be printable on Lulu or somewhere like that if you want an actual
beautiful,
physical copy. So
beautiful. Because yeah, I'll want a physical copy because I'm still one of those old people who I like to be able to put a highlighter and mark stuff and tab it. So I know
yeah.
I can tab stuff digitally.
Right. Yeah, it's something about the physical book that's just so much easier than an electronic book. I've never really gotten into electronic books myself. If somebody sends me a PDF, I usually end up printing it to have it in front of me. It's easier to find things, and
Yes.
for whatever reason, even though I can't type a word in and search for it, it just seems easier to grab the book and flip to chapter 3 than to find chapter 3 in a PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, highlighters unite. um,
Yeah. I actually
so
had a deck creator reformat a book for me. They only had been issuing the books in PDF form, and I was like, "Yeah, I really want to print it, but I need it in 6x9, and it's taking me forever to reformat it." And they're like, "Oh, here, it took me 5 minutes. Here you go, take it."
that's so sweet. That
So
is
I'm
so
like,
sweet.
"Yeah, I couldn't do that, but
Yeah. Oh, you have a cat that is supporting you and your
yes,
effort.
that's Her Royal Highness Princess Sugar."
And Princess Sugar is saying, everybody, please purchase responsibly. Know your limits. These are not expensive decks. And you know, I won't say this a whole lot, but um, it's good bang for the buck. So Jesri is here. Hello. Hi, Jessica. Good to see you. Yep, kitty alert. Love it. Love it. So, how long ago was it that you started this journey, this good journeys on creating a deck?
Okay, so I started the tarot deck, I think in, well, technically it was 17 years ago. But I only got like the ideas for 3 cards together in like 15 years.
Okay.
And back in, I guess it was 2020, or was it 20, yeah, I think it was 2020. I started working on it on a weekly basis, giving myself a goal and
Hmm.
you know,
Which is the 78 cards in 78 weeks.
yes, which it just started out with me talking about what I was learning about the cards and showing the images, and then this guy with a mustache came on one time and was like, 78 cards in 78 weeks, and that just kind of took off, and from there. And then that person decided that I should have people on my channel. And so I started doing that. And for the last year, we've had guest after guest come on from all over to share in the journey with us. And that same person actually helped design this card.
Woohoo!
They were like, "Oh yeah, you could just make the chains the pentagram," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I could." And it actually works because it sets on the body a way that it actually could be wrapped around them and framed
Yep.
around them. And so,
Well, and also that person may have gotten you the Robin Wood tarot. Did I get you the Robin Wood or did I force you to get it?
you forced me to get it. Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, sorry.
Oh,
Not
I gave away the name of the person.
oh,
As if no one knew.
as if no one knew, Gerald the influencer. Well,
Mm.
but I think what was amazing is you got some, I mean, you got a lot of wonderful people coming on and talking about the cards.
Yeah,
It was
people
really
were
beautiful.
very, very supportive and encouraging. Some couldn't come on YouTube, but they have influenced my journey in other ways.
Mhm.
Some people were on there multiple times. There were YouTubers and authors and readers that people would recognize that I've met at different events,
Yeah.
and am looking forward to talking about my experience creating the deck and why I think everybody should do it at some point who reads tarot
Mhm.
at StarCon 2024 with
No.
yes, and Benabel Wynn is one of the main speakers there
Mhm.
this time, and of course, it's run by Christiana Gaudet, both of whom were in 78 cards in 78 weeks,
Yes, they were.
and was very excited for the support I got from the community on all fronts. Um, I
Yeah.
have a story. I've told this story on my channel, but and I don't know how many people will remember it. But one of the things that happened outside of the 78 cards in 78 weeks that was really inspired me to get it done and finish and carry on was at StarCon 2023. I met Mary Kay Greer, and
Love Mary. Yes.
well, actually, I had met her at Northwest Terrace Symposium, but we actually didn't get to talk until StarCon. And we were sitting there having drinks one night with some other people, and someone was asking me to see my deck, and I was showing them images, and Mary was like, "Oh, let me see." And so I was showing them to her, and I showed her these two cards, the Tower and
The devil.
the devil, right? The shadow in
Mhm.
my deck. My cat's trying to play with the cards. Um, and she's like, "Oh, okay. Can you send me those images because I want to put them in my presentation for next month?" And because she was doing something on the tower and the devil, and so I was like, "Oh, wow." Okay. And
Okay.
so
Yes.
that was a thing that happened, and I was like, "Okay,
That's
great, yeah, I'll do
awesome.
that." So
That's
um,
awesome. Congratulations.
yeah.
Yeah. Emerald Buddha has joined us.
Hello, welcome.
And Heather said, I'm working on creating my own deck, but there are so many possibilities it gets overwhelming. And gotta love Canva. What system did you use? Program.
So before I discovered Canva, I did everything in Microsoft Publisher because that's what I knew
Uh-huh.
since I was in college
Okay.
and have been working with it. I mean, I've created entire 8-page newspapers in it, and so I was familiar with how it functioned and everything. And so,
Mhm.
um, yeah. But if I had it to do again, I would find another means to do it that was affordable for me.
Yeah.
My biggest thing was doing it for no money, which it ended up costing a good bit of money because I had to print it twice to make sure it was right.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so let's talk about the deck. This is the back of the deck or the cards. This is the tarot. We'll talk about the learning Lenormand a little bit later. So, and
Yeah.
for those of you who want to know, it is the same size here, and it comes from Make Playing Cards shrink wrapped. Um, don't get her started.
That wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be in a 10, but I had done 2 extra cards as a joke, and some people liked them, wanted them, and I
Love
was like,
them.
okay, I'll do 80 cards. Well, Make Playing Cards will not put the 80 cards in a 10. They only put 78 cards in a 10. Funny story though is when I ordered the 10 and the deck at the same time, they put the cards in the 10. So I
So
don't know
they
why they
did.
can't sell them that way.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
if anybody actually wants a 10, I can send them this image They would just need to make sure that they centered it properly,
Yeah.
because for some reason, even if I use Make Play Cards templates, they never line up correctly for me. So I have to make them a
Oh,
little bit larger and then just position them
yeah.
in
I've done that. I've had
so,
people give me
yeah.
images. So all of the link to Rosemary's stuff are below. So you do a regular newsletter, you have a very active Facebook group and Instagram, so it's all good. Jesri likes the keys.
Yes, it's almost reversible. It's a very small, um
Don't give it away.
a small difference, but you mostly you don't notice it. I'm just a little bit persnickety that way. I looked at it really closely last night.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, "Oh, I see what I did there," but I never would have caught that on the screen.
Well,
So,
I'm not going to tell anybody. Thank you, Heather. Yeah, Rhett is here. Miss Charlotte. We've had a lot of people coming in. So love the keys. Viviani. I've probably missed a few people. So so you're working on the guidebook. November, you said?
October. Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, this week I should finish. All that I have left to write are the tens and the quarts. I've been So here's the thing: I was writing the entries as I did the cards. Some I wrote more than others,
Yes.
and my goal was that each would have like a page and a half to 2 pages. So every card has the same
Nice.
amount of content, and I found as I've gotten towards the end, the nines and the tens, even though I did all the cards randomly, somehow in my writing, as I've gone up numerically, I have less and less written about them,
Oh, interesting.
which is
Okay.
interesting. So, like for the nines, I only had one card that I had even started.
Oh,
So this week, it took me all week to finish the nines. So I'll be doing the tens next week and then getting the court cards done, followed by all the other miscellaneous things that will be in the guidebook. So,
nice. And we
yeah.
have more people coming in. So
Hello,
everybody coming in. This
everyone.
is Rosemary. Good Journeys Tarot. Links are below. We're talking about her new deck. And okay. So I have to say, thank you for doing it in linen. I forgot that it was in linen and it came out. I was like going, oh, I love you, Rosemary.
I love a good linen cardstock. I just couldn't resist.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's beautiful. No edging. I'm going through we're talking about the deck casual. There are 80 cards. There are 2 extra cards, and we'll show those at the end. I don't know if I will feel the need to put an edging on these or not, because the images are framed in black, which is very nice for the images on the cards. So
Yeah, and that actually was not my initial intention, but I mean, so here's the thing. This whole project has been like an exercise in compromise, right? Because when I started, my goal was simply to have all of my thoughts together and some sketches for cards together to eventually get an illustrator to illustrate the cards. And then about 4 or 5 cards into the process, some people were like, "Oh, I can't wait. I want a copy of this."
I
And I'm
was
like,
probably one of those people.
yeah, I blame you for everything.
Okay, I'll take
And
it.
so and so I had to go back and redo those 5 cards. One
Oh,
of them I actually only one card have I never redone. I still am using the same image from the first time I created it, but the rest of them I've had to update numerous times. First, I updated them because initially I only did rough sketches and shapes of what I was wanting.
Sure.
And when people were like, they wanted just a copy of the deck, I'm like, okay, well, then I need to make it pretty and cohesive. And so I began that journey of playing with it and making them all, go together and be a little bit more professional than, say, just strokes across the page kind of thing.
Well,
And
you, and in this 78 cards in 78 weeks, if people, you have a playlist for this, and the playlist is included in the description. This would be a perfect thing if people wanted to actually watch and see the process, because you do share your variations, the what you do, what adjustments
Right.
that you make.
Yes,
So
absolutely. And if anybody notices a card missing, just let me know and I'll find it. I feel like there's 2 cards that are not on that playlist, and I have not been able to figure out
okay.
which 2 they are. So, but you should be able to figure out what I was doing with all of the images by watching that playlist until the guidebook comes out, right?
There you go. Yes. And that's really good, because for me, Rosemary, it's important to I appreciate the process that an artist goes through, and the amount of research that Rosemary does on this. I mean, this is an apt thing here. Overachiever. You are well researched. You're not just pulling crap out of your, you what you are saying in your experience is based in fact and your experience, and that wisdom is beautiful. Oh, by the way, I'm heaping praise in your general direction, Rosemary. So but and I think that takes a lot. I value that. That's one of the things that I really appreciate about Benabel Wynn. So yes, I just compared you to Benabel Wynn because
We're both Libras.
yeah, okay. And what's amazing is there's this amount of research that goes into it, and then there's this moment of, and here's how I fit it all together. Here's why it works for me, and it's part of the alchemy of creating a deck, I imagine. So
I appreciate that. That is, I was what I was going for, but I wasn't always sure that that's what was coming across as.
Oh, it was coming across with me. So, Ms. Tarot D is here. Good morning. I have said a few other people. Ms. Tarot D, you might like this tarot deck. Just saying. And just getting caught up. I do have a question. Vanessa, I did highlight your question. I will get back to that. So. Shh, don't tell everybody, Hilda. Geez, don't let that get out. Well, it's truth, Hilda. I mean, it's like, I love a good research thing. Okay, so the number of cards, there are 80 cards because there are 2 extra cards. Should I show the 2 extra cards, or should I wait until the end?
Sure, it's up to you. It's your show.
Okay, so the 2 extra cards, here's one. Bless your heart. I love that. And I'm not going to make you go into all of the details about bless your heart, because I might actually have to say it. And the other one is the hand unicorn.
Unicorn, yes.
I love this.
You see that meme going around all the time, right? And I've not actually seen it pop up in a deck, and I was like, okay, I gotta do it.
Yes.
And it was a joke, right? Because I hate extra cards. Well, I hate the Star Wars. I don't really care for extra cards. But I did them as kind of a joke, and people were like, oh, I love it. And so I was like, okay, I'll include it. And you'll see I've annotated them yes and no at the top.
Yes.
And the reason for that is that when I see an extra card, I always immediately think to myself, okay, it's time to stop reading. The tarot is telling me, girl, you know what to do. You just need to go and do it. And so either, it's telling you the answer was yes the first time, the answer is still yes, it's always going to be yes. Go now, do the thing,
Yeah.
or the answer is no. Okay, I've already told
Mhm.
you the answer. It's not going to change.
Yep.
Just
Stop
don't go that
asking.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Beth asked, is Bless Your Heart double-edged for the South?
Right. Right. And as is the hand unicorn. It was meant in like, and I
Yep.
described this in the guidebook, as you know, while it is meant to be offensive, it is used in jest between friends a lot. And the same is true of Bless Your Heart. Sometimes people actually say it meaning it, and sometimes people use it in a more, um, you know, derogatory manner, right?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
really thought both of those applied, one just is a little more strong than the other.
Yes. One of the other things that I talk about is I talk about what position strength is in. Strength is 8 and justice is 11.
Mhm.
And you have, okay, so you have changed the names of many of the cards. Uh,
A few. I didn't use titles for the court cards, and then in the minors, in the majors, I did change a few words just for clarity's sake and for neutrality.
mhm. And that's fine. More people are coming in. Boundaries loves the 2 cards. Alice L is here. Hello, Alice. And Ms. Terady says, bless your heart. LOL, never knew that. I think I'm going to have to start using that. Oh, bless your heart. I mean, I think it would be definitely something that Ms. Terady and Tara Sachet should should talk about. The suits and the elemental associations. Cups are water, swords are air, wands are fire, pentacles are earth, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
in the
Uh,
sense that those are suits in the deck. I mean, I basically stuck with the element.
yes,
Though
you're correct.
you'll see in some cards where I actually did use those pips. Like there are some cup cards with cups in them. There are some wands
Mhm.
cards with
Yeah.
wands in them, that kind of thing. But but I didn't specifically use pips in the deck.
And so as I'm looking at this deck, I've watched the process. I just got this. I opened it, counted the cards, fell in love with the linen. I have not looked at these cards in details, so full disclosure. But I wanted to, let's look at the Seeker. And one of the things that I would like you to talk about is the layout of the cards, because you have the title here at the bottom, and then what are these things down here at the on the major arcana?
Okay. So for the seeker there, so for the major arcana, the banner has the card title, which in this case I went with the seeker rather than the fool.
Mm-hmm.
You have
This side.
on the left, where you're pointing with the little hand, is the Hebrew letter associated with the card, which I talk about a little bit in the guidebook. It's something that I've been studying over the last 2 years. And then on the right side, you have either the planetary or astrological association. And it's only the major association. In other words, I didn't include like where some cards are influenced by other planets based on their astrological sign, that type of thing. And then the elemental correspondence that I'm using, which there are some cards in the major arcana where that varies from reader to reader.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a choice. In fact, the first printing of the deck had a different elemental association for the magician than the deck that you have.
Okay, because
Because I went back and looked and I was like, wait, I've got it. And I actually had it on different images. And I realized it's because I've been debating it in my
okay,
head all for 2 years. And I finally came down on the side of air over fire. For me personally, when I always read with the magician, it just feels like a fire card to me because of that whole manifestation thing and that
Mhm.
energy and everything. But then as I study all of the other associations and everything, I keep going back to air. And that's actually more in line with the main source that I've been using for my
Uh-huh.
research than fire was. So that's why it's that
And
way.
I think it's important to, while these things are available, they're not required to understand the meaning of the cards.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So if
They add more information, and but they're not required to understand it at
yeah,
all. Yeah.
yeah. Heather said, I never liked the title Fool. I definitely like the Seeker as a replacement. Boundaries, we are not doing personal readings today. And that I'm doing readings 2 different times on Mondays. So, um, and magician, ooh, very disco-ish. Well, and it is,
Well, it was the first image I found that had someone doing the above below thing.
yeah,
So
I love
yeah.
that. Yeah. So I'm going to flip through some of these cards. If you want to say anything, feel free. We have the Mystic, very pretty.
Yep. Yep, that was the second card that I did. It's
I love
changed
that.
numerous times.
Yeah. Well, and for
Better.
those of us who've been looking at tarot for a while, many of the same things are there. You can see them. You can see the dark pillar, the light pillar, the
Mhm.
scroll, the moon.
Right, yeah.
Okay, here's the Nurturer. I am a fan of the title of this, the Nurturer.
Right,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So and this was one of those things which I was on the fence about for a long time. Was okay. Should it really have two people or not? I was like, I really want it to feel like person that is not necessarily simply a mother,
Hmm.
but could be anyone. And the only way I could see to do that was including the child.
Yeah.
And so a couple of things, a couple of the cards in the deck were designed to reflect this idea that, you know, the cards don't just relate to people who are in relationships or have
Yes.
families, they relate to everyone. And so, and they were supposed to relate to my personal experience. And as someone who has worked with kids off and on throughout my life and have supported my friends' kids in different ways, I am a nurturer, even though I've never had children, right?
Yeah.
So,
And the Nurturer can mean many things.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And a lot of love for that Nurturer in the chat. So, and then we have the Authority. I appreciate the artistic style. I think I've mentioned that before as you're working through this. That it's the images and the style is consistent throughout. I like that.
I tried with it, and
Yeah.
this card was actually inspired by an image I saw someone do of the Boda Tarot. I've always had trouble with the Smith Waite image of the Emperor, and I realized it was because, it's that red, that very deserted kind of feeling, where
Mhm.
it just feels harsh. And when I saw a Boda image with the blue sky and the green grass and stuff, I was like, okay, yes, I get that. That makes more sense to me, right? I like my emperor, as it were, to actually benefit their land, right?
Yes.
Versus creating a wasteland.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Very much so. And then we have the Chaplain.
mhm.
So I am grateful that there are keys on that.
Yes, I'm all about the keys and all with the Hierophant, and
Yep.
I went in the direction of the chaplain because I didn't want to alienate any person or group of people with a specific religious iconograph,
Sure.
right? But I wanted someone there that is a teacher and who is there from a spiritual standpoint as well. I thought a chaplain was very appropriate. I don't know if you're familiar with chaplaincy, but basically, most chaplains, they're there to work with everyone regardless of their faith. So even if it's a
Yes.
Christian minister, they have to support others of other faiths as they are in need of counsel
Mhm.
during various times. And so I thought that was a good alternative to our
Yeah. And you look up
post.
here, we have all of the different all symbols
Right.
of the different faiths
Yeah.
indicated. So I appreciate that. Tom is here, early ritual. Hi, Tom. This is Rosemary.
Welcome.
The lovers. I appreciate the idea of the point of choice in the lovers.
The lover.
Oh, the lover. Sorry. The lover. See, she ain't letting me get away with anything. So the lover. Okay.
So here's the thing, okay? If the French for that card can actually be translated either the lover or the lovers, and
Oh,
back in the 1400s, it actually was referred to as the lover in a lot of
nice.
publications. The reason that I went with the lover over the lovers is because if you think about all of the major arcana, all of them are about one person. They're not
Mm,
about groups of people. It is the high priestess, the magician, the empress, the
yeah. Okay.
emperor, the hierophant, the lover. So it's really about the person who is making the choice, whatever that choice may
Yes.
be. And so that's why I went that direction.
I love that. This is good information. Then we have the chariot.
Yeah, so this one was a stretch for me. I never would have imagined doing a chariot this way. Every time I've seen someone do a card with a chariot like this, where they're being risky, I'm
Uh,
like, no, no, no.
uh-huh. Yeah.
But it just spoke to me. In fact, it's one of my favorite cards now in the deck, and you've
Beautiful.
probably seen it in my series, Good Journeys into Tarot. So
Yeah. And Ms. Tarot D said, I really like the thought behind the lover. Yes. And Heather said, I really appreciate the time and thought and perspective Rosemary took into consideration while creating her deck. Well done. Yep. And yeah, Ms. Tarot D said the idea of the lover makes much more sense. So okay. And then we have strength. And I like the boldness of the red here instead of the black silhouette. So there you go. We don't have to talk about everyone. I'm going to go through these because
absolutely,
I have 80 cards to share with people.
sure.
The Hermit, one of my favorites. This is yeah, that's a lot of light.
Yeah, I had to get in the father time thing, and I also wanted to. I love the Thoth image of the hermit, and so that was kind of my inspiration for all that light.
Love it. And then we have the wheel. Look at that. We include as I'm looking at this again, this is the first time I've actually seen these cards in person. I like them. I like your logo here. I also like the phases of the moon. I like the spider web, and these are elemental association astrology symbols. So
Right. So yeah, everything is cyclical here. The logo, as you call it, that rose cross is cyclical. the astrology is cyclical, the moon phases are cyclical, which is what the wheel is all about. That spider web in the back is actually a nod to the Spirit Keepers Tarot, first edition. The web of life. And yeah.
And Ms. Teradi said, question more on the spider web, please.
Yeah.
I think part of it is it's the references to the three what are they called in the mythology? Somebody
The fates.
The fates, yes, the three fates.
So for me, it was more a nod. It was really a nod to the Spirit Keepers Tarot. They call it the I'm trying to remember what that card is called now, but there is actually a web of rope in which these orbs and these things are floating I think that the wheel turns within our web of life, and so that's really what it was about, is the web of life and how things are connected and all of that. So
then we have justice, and we have the Hanged One. I remember you struggling with the Hanged One a little bit, trying to find the right image or the best image.
I did struggle with the actual technical pieces of it. I knew what I wanted to do with it the whole time, but getting the images and arranging them appropriately was a challenge.
I like this. Yeah. Well, and a lot of stuff, and a lot of times, as people, when they go back and watch the 78 cards in 78 weeks, playlist linked below, you talk about the personal aspects of the stories, which is really important. Then we have, you call it 13.
Yeah, so I did some fun things with the deck, like, not that I'm superstitious about death or anything, but historically it is one of those cards where they didn't want to, say the word, and so it would just have the number on it, and so I did that. Another thing that I did, if you may or may not have noticed, the Seeker is unnumbered, because historically it was an unnumbered card. It wasn't 0. It was unnumbered.
It was just no number. Okay.
And so, right, because this card could appear anywhere in the deck, right? It can be card 2.5 or 7.5 or whatever. It can go anywhere, really. It's about that journey of the Seeker. But yeah, so that's what I did here with this, as I decided to play with that historical
I love that.
phobia a little bit.
Yes. Then we have Temperance. Now I'm double checking to make sure that I'm saying the names correctly. So there's yeah, this works well for me. This works well. And then we have the Shadow, card 15. And yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make the cards somewhat religiously neutral, but at the same time, I also didn't want to change things so much that people wouldn't recognize it.
Yes.
And so
yes. But then we also, like Mary Kay Greer saw, then we have Lightning.
Correct. Yes.
And this image is right there.
Right. Yes.
So,
and this is a story that'll be in the guidebook, but this is about, the fact that the tower, that the lightning, that chaos that's created is chaotic, right? But it's not always a bad thing, right? You rebuild from the rubble.
Yes.
And so this was actually a representation of that coming out as trans, and that transformation and chaos that happened, and that type of thing. So.
Yeah, really powerful. And I appreciate how these images, we have this, and then this happens and we break free.
Right. So, yeah.
So
we are bound by chains that we can get out of any time, and and the tower breaks those chains, right? That lightning strikes, and everything is set forth in chaos to become whatever it's going to become afterwards. So.
Ms. Tarot D asked for a little more about the shadow, please. And
yeah, which is what I was talking about just now, about how, we're all we hold our own selves back a lot of times. And
yes.
in the Robin Wood, which I really didn't spend much time with prior to Gerald's
Insist.
encouragement, that there's this whole thing, these people are struggling to get free, but they're holding on to, the past. Basically, they're being
Yes.
held back because of their own effort. And I think that's a lot of what the bondage and the devil is about.
Mhm.
Ordinarily, is we can break free anytime we want.
Yes. Yes. Nancy, a Crohn's Intuition here. Nancy, this is Rosemary, Good Journeys Tarot. Glad to have her here. We're
Hello.
talking about her new deck that is available on Make Playing Cards. And so we have the Star,
Yeah.
and then we have the Moon. And I think what I appreciate about this is the different shapes here, relating to the different aspects of the tame and the wild. I think that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. So here, this was a specific story that, will be in the guidebook about a time in my life, but I also included all of the imagery from the Waite Smith there. You'll see the wolf in the background. It's just a little shadow behind the collie, and then the domesticated dog in the front, and all of that good stuff. So
Right there. Good. See, there's so many layers. And Miss Tarot D said, "Okay, I was wondering if that was our inner child, which we keep trapped at times on the shadow."
that's a good interpretation.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, specifically for me, that was about the transition from male to female, and all the chaos that happens there. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So we have the sun.
yeah, yeah. This is one of my favorite cards. This was one of the first cards I designed in my brain, and it's a specific image. It's my very first image, first memory
Uh-huh.
from my childhood. But
Oh,
someone said in a group yesterday that their biggest turnoff in a tarot deck is sunflowers, and I almost had a coronary.
really? Okay.
I was like, what? How could you not like a sunflower? They're so beautiful. And they're like, they're ugly. That's why I don't like them in a tarot deck.
Everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion.
Yeah, what's funny is that, in my memory, that's actually a cornfield, but which could have worked just as easily. But I love sunflowers, so I had to
Yeah,
put
yeah.
sunflowers in the sun card at the very least, if not in every card. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Then we have judgment.
mhm.
I appreciate that, with removing the angels.
Now, one thing about doing this deck is that I tried to relate it to my life, and I was also doing the cards 1 week at a time, right?
Hmm.
So that I could get them all done. And so some of them ended up being more symbol rich, and some of them ended up being more memory.
Hmm.
And so it's interesting how they all fit together despite the different concepts in them.
Yeah. Beth said, "Love that sun card. I adore sunflowers, barns, and cows, and toddler. And the toddler is not riding on the cow. Thank you for that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Christiana Gaudet said in one of her videos about the sun is that, it's a happy card, but, it always, you kind of have to wonder when the foot's going to drop, right? Like when things are going to go wrong, when everything is right. And so and that's really something that was captured in that memory as a toddler. I
Mhm.
wanted to pet the cow, but every time the cow mooed or moved, I would like jump back because it was a happy
Sure.
and joyous moment. But then there was also that trepidation about what was next, right?
Yeah. Love that.
So,
Pro Ball didn't know the legend of Sunflower. So romantic. So, and then we have the world. So there's that joy coming through the world. And then we go into the Ace of Air.
Yeah. So the deck is arranged in the clockwise order of my logo. So it's air in the east, fire in the south, water in the west, and then earth in the north. So that's just it. It was a happy accident, and so that's how they were arranged. So
yeah. Here you go, Rosemary. You're very talented.
Well, and again, for those of you who don't know, these are Creative Commons imagery that I have manipulated and arranged to create my ideas of the cards. So
yeah. Jacob Bush is here. Hi, Jacob. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, okay, so we had the Ace of Air, and I like again how they are associated with the element and not with the symbol or the suit. So we have the Two of Air, but
so here instead of putting titles, I've put the numeric and elemental correspondence and the deacon on the 2 through 10. So
there you go. I am a fan of the scissors.
Yeah. So did you notice they're butterflies scissors?
Yes.
For air. All right. Yeah. So I was so happy with that. That turned out
all
really
of these
well.
great little things. Then we have the Three of Air. So, which is, and then we have the 4. I'm a fan of the wind chimes above. So, and then we have the 5 of Air. Social media. Yeah, scissors are great. Nice touch with the butterfly wings. Love the scissors. So, Kathleen G is here. Hello, Kathleen G. Then we have the 6 of Air. A lot of the, I think I won't, Then we have the 7 of Air.
Yeah. That one was actually redone after 78 cards in 78 weeks.
Yeah, this is a new one.
It took me a while to find the right image. I needed a child for that particular one because of the story that it relates to in the guidebook. Originally, I'd used the same woman that's in the Queen of Pentacles, but this is what I wanted, was a child for this. So it relates specifically to a story from my life. So
which, when you purchase responsibly and know your limits and the book comes out, you can find out. And then we have the 8. One of the things that I appreciate about this 8 is that the lock is not locked.
Right, and that's the thing. You can't, you have to be able to get free, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then we have the 9, and I remember the conversation about the 9, and I love the pink panties. It just makes me giggle.
Yeah, the 9 is the only card that didn't change from that first month of the process. It's the same image. I did apply a vignette around it to give it more of a dreamy quality, but it's the same image that I originally created.
And then the 10 of Air. So
that was the hardest card for me to create. I guess because it's a very dark card, right? It's like the most intense card in the tarot, really.
Yeah. Kathleen G, today I'm not doing readings. I'm just talking to, having a great conversation with Rosemary about her new deck. There are readings on Monday on my channel. Ms. Tarot D asked, is the 5 of Air cyberbullying?
So really, it was meant to represent any kind of argument that we would get in, because really that's what the Five of Swords is about
Uh-huh.
those battles that we have that nobody really wins. And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of times our arguments with people remotely feel like, because we can't read people's thoughts and their facial expressions when we're remote. And I think a lot of that miscommunication happens because we're online.
Yes.
But yes, it totally could relate to cyberbullying too.
Hmm. Okay, now we're getting into the court cards.
Mhm.
And if I recall, the court cards of each element are named specifically, but they're symbols to help. So this is the
Right,
scholar,
right.
and you can see up here, I think it's right here,
Mhm.
you have the symbols for what would be the page.
Right. And so it's an envelope for our messenger, or the page. I decided to move away from those antiquated titles, and but I didn't want to like totally recreate them, so I gave them archetypal names, similar to how Ethany Dawn did in her book, Your Tarot Court, where she gave them archetypal names to help people understand them better.
Hmm.
But this is the inquisitive child who wants to learn, who is
Yes.
looking for information and knowledge and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
The name of the deck is the Good Journeys Tarot. And I just posted the links to where you can know your limits and purchase responsibly. And then we have the activist.
so our knights are represented by the shield,
Hmm.
um, and yeah. So this is the activist. This one changed. This was the last card that I did,
Oh,
and
okay.
so I actually lowered it a little bit, but and corrected another mistake that I saw when I after the fact.
Hmm.
But yeah,
So, and then we have the how do you pronounce that?
the
Judicar?
judicator.
Judicator.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
So, like that.
this are, but every time I see it now, I think to myself at first that it's the justice card, which they're very related, right?
Yes.
Um, Intentionally so and unintentionally so. The Queen of Air and the Justice card. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to give the idea that, they're a decision maker, and
Mhm.
of course they can be merciful or not so, right?
Correct. Then we have the diplomat, which is a nice card. I like the image around it. So,
I don't know. For some reason, when I think of the King of Air, I think of like Winston Churchill standing in front of a
sure,
map. I don't know. It just kind of is
sure,
what I thought of.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we go to the fire. So we have the Ace of Fire. Fun, fun, fun.
That spark to get things started.
You got it.
Right. Yeah.
You got it. And then we have the two. I like the what'd you call it? The compass on the back. The
Yeah, it's my logo, but it's a rose cross. In this
rose
case, I
cross.
used it like a protection cross, which
Hmm.
appears in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, two of fire, two of wands. So
Yes.
I
And then
kept
we
it
have
there.
the Three of Wands,
Right.
which I appreciate. We go from this to this, being
Yeah.
inside to being outside.
Yeah. I feel like they had to be the same person though.
Yes.
To me, it's always felt that way in the Smith way. Like
Hmm.
it's stages of the journey.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yep. And then we have the four.
my favorite card in the deck.
Ah, okay.
Another story about the transitions of life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah. And then we have the five, which I appreciate this. I think the five of air, the five of wands, gets a bad rap. It's an exchange of energy, people.
Yeah. So in the Wade described his card, as people learning to fight. They weren't actually fighting; they were practicing. And
Yeah.
so my phrase for this card, and I think someone may have said this to me, but is learn to play, play to learn, and that's why I showed him not winning, but that point where you realize your mistake in tic-tac-toe, right? You
Yeah.
realize after you start your mark, you're like, oh, I could have won.
Shit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. Then we have the 6 of fire. Love that. Love that. Then we have the 7. I like how these tell stories visually.
Yes, and this is actually anyone who's been to Atlanta Pride would recognize this story because they've all experienced it.
Okay. And more details in the guidebook, right?
Yeah.
And the 8.
And I tell those stories in the 78 cards in 78 weeks as well. So
linked channel, the playlist is linked below.
Yeah.
There's the 8 of fire, and then we have the 9 of fire.
Yeah, that one was redone after 78 cards in 78 weeks. I was just never really happy with it. So,
and Kim Moon Whisperer is here. Hello, Kim Moon Whisperer.
Kim, yay!
Kim is watching on your channel, Rosemary. So,
yes.
And Jane the Seeker is back.
Welcome back.
So, and then we have the 10 of fire. Yep. I think I remember the story you were telling about this, so people can watch that. Okay. So then we move into the court cards. We have the performer. I like how, all of this is right out of the head. I think it's great.
Yeah. I tried to link the pages to the aces. Because they are both beginnings and the start of something.
Yep.
So,
and then we have the Daredevil. Love that.
Yeah.
Do you often go mountain biking? Do you often go mountain biking?
No, I haven't been bicycling in years.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was just this reminds me of my brother when we were kids and a story about him. But I guess I could I'll put that in the book.
There you go. Put it in the book. Yes, Jane, the best chatters.
Yeah.
There you go. The best chatters. Okay. And then we have the artist.
Yeah, I really wanted to change this card. But then I ended up not doing so because of a personal experience I had. Had nothing to do with the card, but with something that happened to me in May. And I was like, okay, I'll just leave it.
There you go. Okay.
I think I was just self-conscious about it because it's not this is the only card in the deck that has an original piece of art that I've done. Everything else is Creative Commons imagery, except that painting.
Yeah, Kim Moon Whisperer is like my favorite, and Heather said, "I love the card and the kitty in the picture." And yes, it is the Queen of Wands,
right?
So I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and then we have the King of Fire. Love that. The front man. I think that's fun. So, okay. How are you doing on time? You okay?
Oh, I'm good.
We have the Ace of Water. Like that, with the water flowing out of the shell.
Yeah, beautiful. The shell is the cup, right? Yeah.
Yep. And then we have the 2 of water, which one of these people could be me.
This was one of the first cards that I designed I had very specific images in mind. I was very fortunate to find these particular silhouettes because these are
Mhm.
the exact people that I was thinking of. I mean, the whole concept was these were stories from my life and in the tarot, and um, the cards I struggled with the most were the ones where I had a specific idea in mind of specific people, and I wanted the silhouettes to match the people, and this
Yeah,
one was successful.
yeah.
So,
And I have to say, I'm glad to see them both hydrating. Hydrating. And Jackie Jacaranda is here coming out of lurking. Love the
hi,
Queen of
welcome.
Wands. Yes.
Mhm.
And then we have the Three of Cups or Three of Water.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about this and going through different things, thinking about that. So different formats. I like that.
Yes, I did several variations of it trying to get the colors right. Um,
And
and
then the Four of Water. It's like, yeah.
and yep, and there's our ace being offered, just like in the
Hmm.
Smith way. Yeah.
Yes. And then we have the Five of Water.
Yeah. That was the first card that I did, and it changed so many times.
Yeah. Oh, look, and Zane, Tarot Token Witchery, is here.
Hi,
Also a deck
Sammy.
creator.
Yeah.
Rosemary's deck is available on Make Playing Cards. So, and then we have the Six. I think the Six of Water is, bye, Heather. Thank you. I think what's nice about this one is it's truly how we're documenting our memories now on the phone.
Yeah, yes. This is one of the cards that designed early on, and but it evolved, right?
Mhm.
Because of availability of imagery and all of that good stuff. And when I was looking at the image I had in my head in the black border, I realized, oh, this could be on a phone, which
Yep,
would be perfect. And so there it
it
is.
is. It's perfect.
There it is.
Then we have the Seven of Water, like that, and then we have the Eight. I like the face in the moon,
Yeah.
the silhouette in the moon.
Yeah, the original one had the bridge burning, and I just decided it was too
Yeah.
much.
Then we have the Nine, the Nine of Water, beach.
Yeah, and so the thing about this card, which I was writing about this week, is that it while the 9 is a very happy card, and we typically Eden Gray called it the wish card,
Uh huh.
we're not there yet. We're everything's not come to fruition.
Right.
There's still something missing, and in this case, it's you, your presence, right? Uh,
Oh, that's a really good point. Excuse me, I have to let my dog in. So,
sure.
um, but so
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's see if anybody has any questions while you're doing that. Let's.
One question, and I don't know if you do it, but one question from Vanessa S. early
Mhm.
on was, what do you use for edging? Do you edge decks?
So I do edge some decks. I've never edged a linen deck. Well, actually, I think I have done one. But most of the time, I use Dewdrop Brilliance ink. It's an ink pad,
Mhm.
and I'll run it around the edges 3 or 4 times, and then I'll wipe around the edge with a tissue just to make sure that nothing's on the front of the card or the back of the card. And all of mine have turned out really well. I have done a couple where I used markers. Um,
Uh huh.
but like if I want a truly black edge and I'm having a hard time getting ink to set, I have used a Sharpie.
Hmm. Well, I have used a
But
Sharpie.
only where
Um,
I can test it on extra cards, right? Because some cards bleed more than others, and
yes, yes, and yeah, that's the thing. You want to test it on an extra card. So, I also use the Crayola washable markers. And the thing about that is it's really important to, I have some acetate acetone around so that I can wipe it off if I make a mistake. So, all right. So here we did here's the 10 of water.
Yeah. So this was another one where I decided to move from the family idea to what does this look like for a single person, right?
Mhm.
Because not everyone is married, has kids, and that type of thing. And this card is about emotional fulfillment and
Yes.
contentment. And so I was just trying to capture that in an image and the stillness and happiness and joy that
Yeah.
you can have being alone. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jane loves that. And then we go into the page is the dreamer. You're welcome, Vanessa S. I hope it helps. So the dreamer. And then we have the charmer. What are you chuckling about?
my cat, she always lays down right where I need to be moving my mouse. She's like literally on my mouse pad right now.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Oh goodness.
that, that's what they do.
She never did this when she was little. She's only gotten this way since she's been old. She's acting
Mm,
more like a kitten in her old age.
there you go. So, we go from the charmer to the empath or
Yeah,
the
I think
queen of
this is
water.
my favorite court card. I
Hmm.
loved the way it turned out. So.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then we have the counselor. That's pretty too. I like that one also. It's a great depiction, and it removes the gender from that. So yeah, the cats. Oh, there you go. And Jane the Seeker said, "Cats love mice." She's rolling her eyes at you, Rosemary. Of course I'm playing with the mouse.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
And then we go into the suit of Earth.
Mhm.
So we have the Ace of Earth. It's really pretty. And then the Two of Earth, which the Two of Earth, Two of Pentacles, Two of Coins is my favorite card in the whole deck, and I'm pretty fond of this one.
Yeah, I went more in a Marseille direction because I never liked the juggler
Sure.
in the Smith Waite.
Hmm. Or
I
the
don't know,
Robin
it just
Hood, or
didn't really speak to me,
uh-huh.
balancing himself there. But I did want to get that whole karma energy. There's this idea in a lot of cards that are thought inspired that, it's the wheel and the wheel turning in both directions, hence the using of the logo, as you call it, the rose cross there, which is captured in the Nocturne in the early editions of the Spirit Keepers Tarot. And it's also a little bit of a nod to the Thoth. I really love the Thoth image of this particular card.
Hmm.
But I couldn't find a snake in the Lemniscate
Yeah.
form that I really liked. Again, using the Creative Commons imagery. So I did
And
the
there
Marks thing.
again, there's a great thing about what Rosemary has done, pulling from different traditions, and that I'm looking forward to that in the book. So then we have the Three of Earth, and then we have the Four. There you go. And then the Five. And then the Six, which leads us into the Seven. And then we have the Eight. You have all of the images from other cards, other variations.
Yeah, it's so yes, to totally confuse everyone, the Eight of Pentacles depicts the creation of the Three of Pentacles. Um, which I went through many, many, many iterations.
I think that's great though. That actually is a really good point, Rosemary.
Well, just to make things confuse things more for myself, because these cards have always been weird for me in that, when people talk about them, they like to talk about the master and apprentice. And depending on who you're reading, the three's the master and the eight's the apprentice,
Yes.
or it's the other way around.
Yes.
And it kind of comes down to whether you are looking at the cards from 10 to ace, which is how it's done in Rachel Pollack's book,
Mm-hmm.
78 Degrees of Wisdom. Or if you're looking at them from 1 to 10.
Yes.
And that was something that I was wrestling with there. And so that's why how it ended up that way.
I love that. And then we have the 9 of Earth, and I'm just my friend Jamie, Wandering Mountain Bardic Path, likes a snail. And is there a snail right down there?
Yeah, I had to put the snail in there. So
Okay, there you go.
and you'll see there in some of the earth suit, you'll notice I actually have the stones in there to represent the pips.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put pips in all of my cards because it just wasn't practical, but there were some where it just made sense to have them. So
Yes, snail.
yeah. So in the Smith Waite 9 of Pentacles, there is a snail also in that same spot.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea of self-sufficiency, right? You have everything you need everywhere you go.
Love that.
And which is part of what this card is about. So
Yeah. Gotta be a snail. Love that card. Yeah, I like how that idea of the self-sufficiency. Then we have the 10 of Earth, which does give reference to the Tree of Life, right?
mm-hmm.
So, and you have referenced that in your process through this a lot, where things fall.
Yeah.
So,
And this, very much, again, some of them are very Smith Waite appearing, but they are also related to specific stories in my life. Here, the
yes.
family visiting their grandparents. So,
Mm-hmm.
with their little dog, I had to include a pug in the deck.
Yep.
In honor of mine. So,
And then
I actually redid this card after 78 cards in 78 weeks because I thought that the family didn't look enough like mine.
Okay. Well, it's your
And
deck.
so I had to redo that one. So yeah, and I tried to be as inclusive of different body types and that type of thing as I could within the deck, even though they're all silhouettes. It still was. Sometimes I look at decks and they're like they're very inclusive in like race and gender, but then they're all body beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just doesn't. I wanted to include as many people as possible
Mm-hmm.
as I could because my life has included as many different people,
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm just looking at something. So, and then we go into the page. So we have the novice, which I think is lovely.
Yeah, I mean, she has no idea the green one's not the good one, does she?
No, which is what the novice does.
Right.
That's what happens, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then we have the architect.
Yeah. Someone's got to build that garden that the Our Lady and the Nine stands in, right?
Absolutely. And then we have the philanthropist. And the financier.
Right.
So, they're overseeing, all of their stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, I thought philanthropist had that little bit of a nurturing, caring
mm-hmm.
idea behind the wealth, that
Yes.
our queen needs. And I put our little bunny in there because what's the Queen of Pentacles without her hair?
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
And Betsy is here, meeting Betsy Palmer. Hello, Betsy. Good to see you.
Hello, hello.
And yeah, I love how the two cards well, and what's interesting is I'm going to enjoy looking at these cards together. The deck, each suit, and then again we have the Bless Your Heart and the Hand Unicorn
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
extra cards.
Yeah, and you'll see in the Bless Your Heart, I actually did the little squirrel in the background. It was kind of, my version of the happy squirrel card, which many people are familiar with nowadays from
The Simpsons.
Simpsons, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. Okay, so that was an hour and 20 minutes, and I just started to shuffle these because they shuffle like a dream, everybody. And I'm going to do a little tease about the Good Journeys Learning Lenormand, because I said we were going to chat about that. But the Good Journeys Learning Lenormand comes with a plastic case, and here's the back. It's a regular. Is this a bridge size deck?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the first deck I did, and it's been out for about a year. And it was really that. It was a way for me to learn Lenormand after watching a lot of different videos and reading some books and just kind of putting all the information I wanted on a card to learn it on a card. And
Yes.
I was like, if I done it for myself, I might as well just let other people have access to it as well. So,
and if I heard you correctly, I'm the first person to own one.
that is correct. Yes.
There you go.
So
Not that I'm bragging or anything.
In fact, I do not own the latest version of either of the decks myself because I made adjustments after my last copy arrived. So, yeah. So,
okay. So in this comes this little card layout, and it actually talks about how to look at the cards, correct?
Right. Yes, because I did specific things with the cards. Like, for example, the border denotes whether it's a positive, negative, or neutral, or combination thereof card. So, like, for example, that one's generally positive or neutral. Yeah. That one's generally positive. And that one's generally negative or neutral. And that one's generally negative. So, and then it also pointed out the different aspects on the card. Like I put keywords on it because I could not find a good learning Lenormand when I was trying to learn Lenormand because and even the ones that had keywords on them, I couldn't make out the keywords. And so, yeah, I included the little card that kind of describes, what the different parts of the card are, and then also the 9-card spread. That's pretty common. People know of it.
And did I? I don't know if I don't remember if I showed the back.
You showed it.
Okay. Yeah. And okay. So also, just okay. And so maybe I'll have to do a flip through of this on my channel. So we do have the playing card reference as well.
Yes.
And then we also have keywords here.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where you can definitely tell it's the tree, it's the clouds, it's not something else. It's like, what?
Right. Yeah. I just needed it to be the image, right? And I tried to make them as, consistent as I could using Creative Commons imagery. And I added my little nod, like you saw on the coffin, to
Love
my
that.
logo and things like that. I tried to add a little bit of fun, like the child is a superhero and
Yes.
our rider is a unicorn. And I've actually started reworking it a little bit, trying to make it coordinate with the tarot deck. And so when I
Ooh.
did this was the first deck that I did, and when I did it, a lot of the Creative Commons imagery I found had white backgrounds, and at that point I wasn't adept yet at removing the white backgrounds, and so that's why the cards were white backgrounds. But and you'll see, like, there's some images that I used from the deck. That mountain is throughout my tarot deck. And so,
Well, and I like the idea that you have an opportunity to connect them. I'm a huge supporter of when we have multiple, when the same deck. I like reading with the same decks or decks created by the same creator, the artist. So, like,
initially, I wanted them to be different, but then as I started working on the Oracle deck, I was like, you know what? Maybe it would be nice if the Lenormand matched those two, because the Oracle deck matches the Tarot deck. So,
I think that's good. And since I'm almost done showing them, I might as well show them all. So, and Jane the Seeker said, "Yeah, they are small. I don't understand large Lenormand cards." It's like,
oh my gosh, there's actually a deck out there. It's basically what they did was they added extra cards to the Lenormand, and it's like bigger than my hand. I couldn't with it. It rehomed so fast. It was a gift.
There you go.
And I was like, yeah, no, I can't. There's not even a thing I can work with.
So, yeah. My gosh. Well, thank you, Rosemary. This has been delightful. It must be impossible to do a layout with a large deck.
Oh yeah, I mean, even doing the 9-card, spread, it's insane the amount of space it takes up with that particular deck. So,
yeah. How do you even do a grand tableau with big Lenormand cards? So silly. What you do is you actually have to rent a space, a studio space with a huge table.
Yeah, it could easily have taken up my whole dining room table to do a grand tableau with that. So,
and Medium Betsy Palmer says, sounds like that huge deck travels like crusty Christmas fruitcakes. So,
yeah, I don't know so, I think people just have bad fruitcakes. Like, fruitcakes can be really delicious, but I think people just get the wrong ones.
I think people get the wrong ones, or So this is a lovely little deck also available, and this one does come in with a lovely little case, which will make it easy to carry around.
Yes.
So,
and if anybody who buys the deck would like the image to create their own 10 make playing cards, just reach out to me and I'll send it to you. That's just been the bane of my existence. I could list it with just 78 cards without the 2 extra cards in the 10, but
now that we've seen them, they have to be there.
Right.
And I'm totally going to leave them in.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Totally. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. So, all right. So, again, links to Rosemary's link tree is in my description. Please reach out to her. You've got newsletters. You have an active Facebook group. Might you be doing your Instagram live readings again soon?
Well, between working on the book and other stuff, probably not. I am posting periodically on Instagram information about the cards.
Mhm.
And when you see that, that's when I finished that part of the book. So I'm up to the
Oh,
ninth
okay.
now. So next week you'll probably see a post about the tens and so forth. I will be presenting at the World Divinations Association virtual event in October, and also at StarCon in January. Um, and the book is due out in October. Let's see. Anything else exciting going on here right now? Nothing. And I'm also hosting a monthly event with Kate Murrah from Group Tarot over on Zoom,
Mhm.
where we invite people to bring their newest decks or a deck they haven't worked with in a while and they want to spend
Oh,
some time with, and we all play together. It's a very casual kind of
love
tarot
me some of
meetup.
that. Yeah.
So it's the third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. And thank you, Jackie, for putting Rosemary's link tree.
Yes. But I am sharing daily reads on Threads.
Okay.
Just
Should
image with a little snippet about, the cards that he pulled. What's interesting is I keep pulling the same dang cards.
wonder what message is there about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So,
but it's crazy. I've been pulling the same cards from my deck for 2 weeks now. It's crazy.
okay. Well, there you go. And after I play with this, use the deck for a little bit, I will actually probably start using this for my daily reads on Monday. And then after a week or so of doing that, perhaps I can have you back and we will
Sure.
do readings with it for people.
Absolutely.
So, and Jackie said, you are not listening. So, to the cards, I'm not going to ask you which card because I should be following you on Threads. So,
You are. You are.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
thank you
right.
so much for having me and for being the first to own my complete collection of decks.
Woo! And I think I surprised you because you put on Facebook that the deck was on Meg playing cards, and probably and I knew my limits and I purchased responsibly, and I went over and they are not overly priced. So
Yeah,
um
I kept them as I sold them for the least amount that make playing cards would allow. So it was never about making any money. It was about getting it out into the world, and
yeah.
so
So yeah, and so we'll do some readings and all right. Thank you so very much. And for
yeah,
those of you who are watching this in playback, please like and subscribe. It's free. Make sure you go over to Rosemary's channel and like and subscribe because, we're going to, we can say we knew Rosemary before she made it big, right? So, all right. All right. So thank you,
all right.
everyone. I do appreciate this. And I will see everyone later. Bye.
Have a great weekend.